Let's go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario episode 17. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and joining me today is Jono Pech. Jono, how you going?
Pretty good, Drew. Thanks for having me on the show. It's always good to talk to another South Australian. I was born in Adelaide, but have been over here in Victoria for far too long.
Far too long. Yeah. Has it rubbed off on you yet?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely a Victorian, really, but I like to stay true to my crow eaters back home. Yep. I always shout out to them.
Yeah, we better not talk about that so soon after the grand final.
It was a sad day. I had like 11 family members at that game, including my mum.
Really?
So, yeah.
They actually went there?
Yeah, they were at the game.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Jono, for those who don't know who you are, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I live in Geelong. I'm a bit of a nerd, probably like everyone that's ever come on this show. And at the moment I work in like public affairs and communications, but I've got a background in journalism, so I've worked in newspapers for most of my life, and I also do a fair bit of podcasting with the Explosion Network and my podcast, Putting in Work, where I just interview different people every week talking about creative projects, much like this one, and other cool stuff that people get up to. And I've written a book, I've done a bit of everything really, so yeah, it's just good to branch out and do different stuff like this. Like, I'm not a Nintendo guy really, so people might be surprised I'm on this show, but we'll probably get to that a bit later. Hey.
Yep, that's why you're on. Yeah. Something a bit different. We met at RTX Sydney just earlier this year. It feels like such a long time ago now.
Yeah, it's almost like, it feels like we've known, or like not just you and me, but everyone that was there. It feels like we've known each other for ages, I guess.
Like I got to meet. I didn't get to talk to him like you did on your podcast, but just like bumping into him, it doesn't actually feel like I've met them. It just went like that.
Who's that? The kind of funny guys?
Yeah, Greg and Tim.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It just flew by. Just want to talk a bit about your gaming history, because obviously this is a Nintendo podcast, and you don't have much history with Nintendo. You've mainly played PlayStation and other things.
That's right. So should we go back to the very start?
The very start.
Sure. So the first console I had, I'm pretty old, so it was a Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis as our American listeners might know it. And that was the console that I probably associate the most with my early childhood, because it was pretty much from, I can't remember exactly how old, like age 5 till age 10 maybe. So Sonic and Bubsy and a whole lot of licensed games, Power Rangers and Simpsons and Captain Planet, all that kind of stuff. And never really realizing that it was the inferior console, which consensus now would be that absolutely was. But yeah, like I did have friends who had Nintendo, so I'd, go around to their house and play as much as I could. But yeah, because I went straight from the Sega to PlayStation 1 and stuck with PlayStation since then, my only real exposure to Nintendo has been either friends, which, we all have a lot of friends with, you spend a lot of time with friends playing games, so it's not like I have no idea what this Nintendo thing is, but it was either friends or like we had a Game Boy, and that was probably the introduction to Donkey Kong and Pokemon and some of those franchises. And it's been a lot more later in life that I've come to, going back to some of those old games, and now that the SNES Classic is here, it's made it a lot more easy.
Well, that's one of the best things about the NES Classic. Like lots of fans want to pick up a small little console to put under their TV, but people like yourself who don't have access to maybe a Wii U or a Switch where you can download these games, that's where it really the money proposition comes into.
Yeah, definitely. There was a little bit of an era when I was at uni where I'd go back and play some Game Boy Advance emulators and Nintendo 64 emulators, a bit of Conquer and Majora's Mask and not Link to the Past, Ocarina, and so I had a little bit of a play with that, but it's not the same, is it? Like playing on your PC or your laptop, and pretty bad ROMs and just the whole lack of a controller and all that kind of thing. It's not really the experience. So getting to hold the SNES control and play on the TVs, you get it. It takes you back a little bit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I've only played a little bit of mine, but we set it up and we played a bit of Mario Kart and Star Fox.
Yeah.
And just you're holding the controller and actually getting to see it again. It's like, oh, this is awesome. Because a lot of the times, I went through the phase as well, playing on emulators, and I was playing with the Xbox 360 controller, and you're trying to play side scrollers with that D-pad.
Yeah, right.
And it's just not not great.
Yeah, the D-pad's on. Like, if you have to use a D-pad on like a DualShock or something, it's kind of difficult. Like, it doesn't feel right. Even though they've probably improved the technology since then, but it just feels something feels better about it on the old controls.
Yeah, I find the DualShock D-pad pretty good, but the Xbox one's not too good.
Right.
I find it better when it's up the top.
Okay, yeah, it might be that the indie games that Sony had to focus on at the start of the PS4 cycle that made them kind of develop a way to make it feel good again, because you don't really use it for anything else, I feel like, apart from menus, right?
Yeah, or just like choosing your guns in Call of Duty,
or
swapping grenade to something else.
Yeah, that's it. So it doesn't really have to feel that great. I can understand why Microsoft didn't really put too much into it, but yeah, like a kind of reignited interest in those old school games was my fascination with Shovel Knight and Super Meat Boy and some of those games that harken back to that age of 16-bit and 8-bit. So yeah, playing those games over the past few years has made me kind of like, it's been really cool to and like Mega Man Legacy Collection. You play these kind of newer games inspired by the old ones, and it hits you how great they are, but then when you go back and play the games that inspire them, it's really obvious what elements they've lifted and which gameplay mechanics and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like the list of games on this thing is just absolutely mind-blowing. You can play this thing for probably a couple of years and just be content with that, unless if you block out all modern news.
Yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people seem to buy it, they've got it, and then they just probably don't even play it really because they can't make the time to do it. But
or they don't want to be so close to their TV.
Yeah, that too.
With the cord.
I found a way around that, but I think it's going to be like the SNES Classic is going to be a really good thing to just have for when there's no new games that I want to play, instead of going and trolling through my PS Plus list and seeing what I've missed and what's on sale on the PS Store. I can go, oh, actually, I might try a Link to the Past. I might try and finish that, and put a few hours into it, or put a few hours into F-Zero or something fun like that.
What games have you played on it so far?
Sure. So it's been a week, basically, since I booted it up. And I've spent most of my time with Super Mario World. I have only kind of, I've played it. I haven't played through it, I've just played it. So it is pretty cool to get the full context for what that game is. And, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert. Is it regarded as the best of that 16 and 8-bit era?
Like Mario-wise? Or
just out of the Marios,
yeah. Because I think it's the only 2D Mario game on the SNES.
Okay.
The other three were NES.
Right.
So yeah.
Sure. So I wasn't sure with Yoshi's World and all that how they fit in if there was any other Mario games, but it's just that one.
I know. To be fair, I see Yoshi's Island and that as sort of a separate series. Yep. I know some people might disagree, but I see them as two different games.
Is Mario in those games?
He's a baby.
Oh, right. Okay.
So the aim of the game is Yoshi's trying to he's found baby Mario and he's trying to take him home.
Okay.
Look after him, yeah.
Sure. And there's the Paper Mario or Mario RPG or whatever as well.
Yeah.
And that's not really a platforming game, is it?
That was a game made by Square Enix. So that's a RPG.
Separate, yeah. Okay.
Made by them.
Well, yeah, so anyway, it's cool to get, I guess, experience Mario in all his 2D glory. Yeah.
Because the Super Nintendo was like not way before, but it was a long time before I started playing video games.
Right.
So I never played any of these games when they first come out. So Mario World I actually played on the Game Boy Advance. Link to the Past I've gone back to through Virtual Console and things like that. But a lot of these games I haven't played to completion either.
Sure.
It's like Super Metroid's probably the one that jumps out at me the most, just ones I haven't played enough.
Yeah, that's one that it might have been it was the first one that I booted up on the SNES Classic, because I thought this is a game that people, like a lot of people, like people in the industry and just older gamers will refer to this as their favorite game ever, or like one of the best games ever. So having played, oh man, now I'm drawing a blank on the indie that was inspired by Metro.
I know what you mean.
I'm gonna
it
feel
came
like
out on Switch literally this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. But
Axiom Verge.
Yeah, Axiom Verge. Yeah, I played a lot of Axiom Verge last year, and going into Super Metroid now, I'm so glad you thought of that. I would have felt like the biggest idiot if I couldn't remember. But yeah, going back and like even just the way that the enemies, come at you and the types of enemies, it's like, okay, they've literally just pulled it straight from Super Metroid, or even from Metroid. It might have been from the first one. I don't know because I haven't played that, but yeah,
I think it's mainly based on the very first Metroid.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's a creepy game. Like even in 2D and like 16-bit, it's like, man, like the music and the setting, it's really unsettling. Like you can feel that sci-fi horror kind of vibe.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play that, but like since I haven't finished Super Metroid either, I'm like, should I play Axiom Verge or should I dive into Super Metroid?
Yeah, it's I guess it comes down to what's accessible to you, and I played Axiom Verge on my Vita, so it was just something I took with me. Is it out on Switch yet?
Yeah, it came out this week.
Right. Okay. Well,
on Switch, yeah.
If you've got it with you, then I guess it's a bit more digestible than having to sit down at the TV with the 1.5 meter cord, controller cord. Yeah.
I've got Super Metroid on 3DS as well, so that's easy to take around too. But so I've got no excuse, but here I am.
The decisions we have to make as gamers, hey, it's tough.
It's a tough life. Yeah.
Yeah. The other games that I delved into the most would probably be Donkey Kong Country. My wife wanted to play that until she kept dying and I didn't, because it's that old 2-player thing where you're both playing but you take it in turns. It's that weird kind of it's not co-op. Yeah. It's and then so I'm up to the minecart level on that, which is giving me the irrits, that one. And I've dabbled in F-Zero, I've dabbled in Street Fighter, Contra 3, which is that old one-hit kill kind of side-scroller. It's pretty frustrating at the moment. And as I said, mostly Super Mario World, but pretty keen to get into Link to the Past, and obviously there's Castlevania 4. I don't know what the reputation of Castlevania 4 is, but is that something that's highly regarded as far as you know?
That's a blank spot on my slate. I don't know anything about Castlevania really. Right,
yeah. I know that Symphony of the Night was this huge thing in the next generation, but whether 4 has that reputation, I'm not sure. Yeah.
I guess if it made it onto this, I assume it means something.
Yeah. Are there any games on here that you know are just kind of filler? Because I've heard that the Ghouls and Ghosts one doesn't hold up that well.
It might not hold up that well, but Ghouls and Ghosts, it's like notorious for being hardcore.
Okay.
Like old school, just like notorious, yeah.
What about the Kirby's, like, there's like Kirby Golf or Dreamland or some weird.
Yeah, they're good games.
Yeah.
They're fun for what they are. Like I enjoy Kirby. I'm not a huge Kirby fan or anything, but have you got a chance to check out Star Fox 2?
No, I haven't played Star Fox yet. That's another, not being a Nintendo guy, a franchise that I haven't had any interaction with apart from in the Smash Bros levels. Yeah. What's your view on that? Have you unlocked it yet? It's the one game you have to unlock.
Yeah, I went straight into Star Fox just to unlock Star Fox 2 to see what it's like. And I enjoy the original Star Fox. I think the aesthetic is nice, even though it's super basic. But going into Star Fox 2, it's so impressive what they've been able to pull off. But just playing it isn't fun.
Why?
Because it's complete 3D and you're controlling it with a D-pad for one. Oh. And like you're trying to like turn around and the frame rate just slows right down. And I find it pretty jarring to play.
Is it an incomplete game?
No, it's finished.
So why was it never released?
They didn't release it because at the time the PS1 was already out.
Yeah.
And what the PlayStation 1 could do was a lot more impressive than what Star Fox 2 was doing with 3D.
So they were embarrassed?
No, well, they just decided to hold it and wait for the not the PS, the
64.
Nintendo 64.
So did they turn it into a 64 version, basically? Like the Star Fox 64, was that built on the original? Okay.
No, it was a different game, yeah.
Okay. So they just completely scrapped it.
Yep. Until now.
Till now. They knew one day that the SNES Classic would come out.
I don't know if you saw last year, but the developers of Star Fox 2, they all went out for dinner when they heard it was coming out on the SNES Mini.
It's pretty cool. It's funny because the side of the box says something like 20 plus 1 games. And it's like, why not just say 21 games? But I guess the Star Fox being locked away is the plus 1.
Yeah. So it is cool that it's there, but it's not. It didn't come out for a reason.
Yeah, okay.
I feel
it's kind of like a Easter egg on this console, isn't it?
Yeah. Any other games you've
yeah, I'm just trying to think.
Played on there?
Secret of Mana, put a bit of time into that. It's a name that I'm familiar with. And they're doing a remake now that's coming out early next year, aren't they? But knowing it was Squaresoft, I guess, before they changed their name, had me interested. It's kind of like an action RPG, whereas instead of turn-based combat, you're just kind of hacking at enemies. I'm probably only 30 to 45 minutes into that, so I'm not sure if I'll stick with it, but it's got a really interesting look about it. It's very colourful. It's very of its time, I think. Like when you see that, you just immediately think Super Nintendo. And it's probably if I hadn't played a fair bit of Final Fantasy VI recently, I probably would have gone into that instead. But it's too much time to pick that as the first game, I think.
Yeah, the RPGs on here are a huge time sink.
That's it. Like the SNES Classic, for what it's cost, $120 in Australia, I think. You're definitely getting your hours of content out of it, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, especially after you've played Persona 5 this year, haven't you?
I did. Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah. So, are you all RPG'd out at the moment?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it would take I actually said when I was close to finishing that, I don't think I'm ever going to play a Japanese RPG again because it took so long to get through, and I wasn't enjoying it. And that was coming off the back of Final Fantasy 15, which also I felt like went too long, and I wasn't enjoying it. I guess Persona is an awesome game. It's probably in my top 3 games of the year. So it's nothing about the way that game plays. Whereas Final Fantasy 15, I actually did have an issue. I wanted it to be more turn-based, a bit more old school. Final Fantasy 7 is one of my favorite games ever. And I guess I just wanted that feeling back. But I mean, I could just see into my future as I was playing Persona 5, and I was like, I don't have enough time for these games. So apart from the Final Fantasy VII remake that's coming out in the next 10 years, I'm not going to be running to the shops for any of these RPGs, I think, which is a shame.
Yeah. Because I bought Persona 5 and I played probably the first hour or so, and I just haven't got back to it because I've been playing other stuff or busy or whatever it might be.
It's a barrier though, isn't it? Like, you don't want to start it knowing it's going to take you 120 hours unless you've got 120 hours to put in.
Because I'm just thinking about like my time with Zelda. I'm like, God, I spent a lot of time playing Zelda this year, and that's 60 hours.
Yeah.
Let alone the 100 hours just to finish the story. I don't. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I was kind of rushing through that game by the end of it, Persona 5, and it still took me 120 hours. You know, so it's 100 is. Some people have finished it in 100 somehow, but they must have avoided the side missions and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh God. Just thinking about it, it's like, oh, I don't know, but it's if it was on a portable, I might have a chance, but. In front of the TV.
The thing about it is, it feels like it could be. Like, it doesn't feel like, I can understand why this isn't on Vita or Switch. Like, no, it feels like a portable, perfect kind of portable game. Like, if you played Persona 4, it's the same, like, menus, and you're running around town to different areas, and the areas are self-contained. It's not a huge open world or anything. And the, turn-based fighting, it's awesome, but it's not like, wow, it doesn't seem too powerful for one of those consoles. Yeah.
Because it is on PS3 as well in Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it can run on PS3, it can run on Switch.
Yeah, my co-host Bryce keeps on telling me to play it, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a good game, and the music's awesome, the story's great. You just, you got to be prepared to smash that X button to get through it.
Yeah. All right, we'll move away from the SNES Mini talk for now. I just want to ask you, as someone who's never owned a Nintendo system apart from the Game Boy, what do you think of current Nintendo since the Switch come out? What's your take on them?
My take, which is based on pretty much everyone else's takes, because I've only really got the global village of the internet to fill me in. It looks like they're doing really well. It looks like people are pretty happy. Like, I haven't seen anyone with a Switch complain about it, really, despite there's obvious limitations of it. There's obvious, lack of probably fresh original games, but people don't seem to care. Like, they seem to just be infatuated with this device and gobbling up any game that comes out, whether it's Stardew Valley that's been on PC and PS4 for like a year or so. This week I think that came out, or whether it's a port of any of the many ports that there have been. People they seem just to be snatching them up, and like anything that is original, the golf RPG. What's the golf RPG that everyone's going?
Golf Story.
Yeah, Golf Story. Like, people are loving Golf Story. People playing Splatoon. That was everywhere. The Rabbids. It's just, I think that it's almost like Nintendo have given people just enough games so that they can't complain, and they've given them, with Zelda being, by most accounts, a game of the year frontrunner, and the looming Mario Odyssey that's about to drop on everyone's heads. I think that there'll probably be a lot of people that give the Switch their console of the year, if there was such a word. It's definitely gotten the most buzz.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see what they've done in this year.
Yeah. And the other...
Sorry,
just the last thing I'll say on that as an outsider is that it's completely killed off the Vita, like, as a discussion, like, point. And, people that have Vitas and love their Vita, I've heard a lot of them say, I haven't touched it since the Switch came out, or I don't want to go back to my Vita, or whatever it is, which, you know, I've still got my Vita, and I still play it whenever a PS Plus game hits that I want to check out, or whatever it is, or I actually use it probably mostly for remote play with the TV, but I feel like they haven't released any new games for the Vita since the Switch came out. It's like they've just given up because they know that they're not in that space anymore.
Yeah. But the last time I picked up my Vita was for Undertale, which is probably a month or two ago.
Yeah, so there's been Undertale and Danganronpa 3, which just came out. So there are some games that are, you know, they're on PS4 and Vita, but like last year we had Severed on the Vita, and that was an exclusive until it hit the Wii U. But yeah, it's the Switch is, you know, people have been saying Vita's dead for a long time, but the Switch, I think, is almost well and truly put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, because the Vita was awesome, but Sony just didn't handle it very well.
No, it looks like it. I don't know whether it's the changing views of the company or just a response to lack of sales or whatever it was that they expected and didn't hit there, but they haven't put the value in it that I guess the people who were enjoying it wanted them to. And that Nintendo's definitely put into the Switch, because it's all about that handheld. Like the handheld, as someone that, you know, I'm assuming plays the Switch quite a bit, how much is the handheld aspect of it the biggest hit?
How much is it the biggest hit? As in, like, how often?
Yeah,
do I use it?
Like how much of a factor? I say biggest hit because it seems like it's the thing that people seem to enjoy the most about it. But for you, how much of a factor is it the fact that it's portable?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, like, you know how there's like, if it's not cross-buy, they've got an RPG on the Vita or the PS4. You're like, it looks really pretty and I want it on my TV, but at the same time, I'm not going to be sitting in front of my TV playing it all the time. With the Switch, you can literally just do both. Easy. So like a lot of the times, I might be playing Mario Kart just by myself, and I can just put it on the TV and instantly play 4 people. It's really handy in that type of way.
What would be the percentage of TV versus tablet, for lack of a better term?
Probably 60% handheld, 40% TV.
Okay.
It just depends on what your lifestyle is too, because a lot of the times I'm out and about, so I just take the Switch with me and play that way.
Milking the
That's
cows.
how I was able to play so much Zelda.
You do it down at the dairy?
Down at the dairy. One hand milking the cows, the other one the Joy-Con.
Yeah, nice. That's it. Playing what's the cow milking game on the
1-2 Switch?
Yeah, playing 1-2 Switch while you're milking a real cow.
Yep.
That's it.
Going for the high score. As like, since you're a big fan of the Vita, the Vita's, you know, not many games are coming out for it. And you've never owned a Nintendo console. What would make you buy a Switch? Like, would it fill the hole which the Vita is now disappearing?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, like, I feel like if, like, Breath of the Wild is the biggest reason for me to buy a Switch if I was to do it. I've generally just been like a one console person always. Like, I've never been like, oh, I'm going to buy the Xbox and the GameCube and everything so I can play every game. Like, there's more than enough on PlayStation to keep me busy. But if I got to a point in my life where maybe, you know, let's just say I was commuting for an hour every day to work or something, then yeah, maybe I would think about the Switch as more of an investment that would be worth my time. And I think having the first party lineup would be important because I wasn't blown away by the launch lineup, which was, you know, as we know, basically Breath of the Wild and old stuff that people, if they wanted to, they'd already played.
It's 1-2 Switch. You could have got that cow milking.
Yeah, I could
down
have.
pat.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get that down pat. as someone with in-laws running a dairy farm, I don't want any. I don't want any reason for them to ask for my assistance.
Yeah, you'll get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if they can pull off what they did with Breath of the Wild, with Mario and with whatever comes next, in that everyone's talking about it, everyone's blown away by it, that would be the strongest argument or the strongest influence on me deciding, I better pick up one of these. And how much are they now, by the way?
$470.
$470, yeah, maybe a price drop or two as well.
Yeah, not cheap.
What's Nintendo been like in the past with price drops?
The Wii U, as bad as it went, literally never got a price drop.
Wow.
In Australia.
That is incredible.
In America, it got a $50 price drop about maybe 2 years in. But Australia, if just before the Switch come out, if you went to EB Games, you'll be picking up one for $430, the original price it come out at.
That is ridiculous.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I was just flabbergasted when I saw the commercials for it. But
that's the thing. There's, given the Wii U and other blunders in the past, I just have a distrust for Nintendo. Unlike a lot of people have this infatuation or this nostalgia for Nintendo, where they'll be lining up to buy the Switch because they just want a reason to come back and for everything to be happy again. And I don't know if you're one of those people, but how clear do you think they are from their mistakes now? Do you feel like they're on the path to just kick goals with everything they try, or do you think that they've still got some room to overcome?
Well, they still definitely have some room to overcome.
Because I think some of the stuff with voice chat and things like that are kind of embarrassing, I think.
I feel the console is solid this time around. The Wii U, just in all respects, from a hardware perspective, was not good at all. The loading times, the menus, it was all bad. I don't have too much to say good about the Wii U except for the games. They were fine for the most part. But yeah, the Switch is good because it loads quick. It's nice to look at, and you couldn't say that about some old Nintendo machines. Yeah. But yeah, the voice chat and the online definitely need an overhaul. They have a paid service coming early next year, so you would think that'd be an excuse to sort of upgrade it, make it better. But you never know. I'm not holding my breath.
Is this paid service like a PS Plus Gold kind of thing? Subscription service, or?
Yeah, sort of. So in Australia, it's $30 a year.
Right.
So it's a fair bit cheaper, and you get some. What do you get? You get older games from NES and SNES for the Switch, but with online features built in.
Okay.
So I assume leaderboards and things like that.
Right.
We don't really know yet. They haven't said much, but
you just reminded me of something that I wanted to say about the SNES, which is I'm really grateful it's got this kind of save anywhere feature.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't. I don't know if it was advertised really, but it's been a lot of help for getting through some of those Mario World levels. I have to admit, it's kind of cheating. But
yeah, you just save at the end, yeah.
Yeah, if you lose all your lives and you have to replay 3 or 4 levels because that was the last time there was a save game, then yeah, I'm gonna hit that reset button, which feels kind of weird in the middle of a game, and then save the state, which it's gotten me out of some jams.
Because Mario Bros 3, if you die halfway through the world, you go back to the start of the world.
Yeah.
So you've got to do 5 levels again.
So did they have that on the NES as well?
Yeah.
Me? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I just thought I'd be remiss not to mention that feature. And it's so weird, having to sit close to you're sitting pretty close anyway because of the control of it. You have to physically press the reset button to get to that menu. It's kind of a throwback.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to throw in for the Switch?
Odyssey coming out is going to be a pretty big thing, I think. Whether or not it has the impact that Zelda had. I guess we'll see. But I think it's definitely going to be, as far as it's going to be a talking point. It's going to be one of those games that everyone won't shut up about, regardless of whether it's because it's an amazing game or whether it's, hilariously bad or cringe. Like, people are going to talk about it because it's a Mario game, and there's something that Alex Van Aken from OK Beast did a video on this recently, but Nintendo's tapped in so well to kind of the meme culture that's happening at the moment on social media, and having characters doing dabs and Mario running around with no shirt on, like just things like that just seem like built to create discussion and hype and memes on the internet. And whether it's intentional or not, I don't know, but it's there, and it's you can't really escape it, I think.
That's what Ubisoft brings to the Mario series, making Luigi dab.
Yeah. But they were doing it in Mario Kart as well, right?
Not dabbing.
Didn't Donkey Kong have the move where he flips in the air and dabs?
No, he probably did.
I've seen a video of that, I'm sure. Slow motion replay.
I try to ignore all the dabbing stuff.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's little brother, all he does is dab and all this stuff.
It's funny.
All right, Jono, we might end the episode there. Thank you very much for coming on.
No worries. People can catch me on Twitter at Jono himself. Check out Putting In Work on iTunes, and Platinum Explosion if you want to get some of the PlayStation content from Explosion Network as well.
Yep, you guys have a fair few shows on Platinum Explosion.
Yeah,
please plug them away.
Yeah, there's Pleasure Explosion, our I guess it's like Comedy Button, Game Over Greedy style discussion show every week. Then we've got Platinum Explosion, which I mentioned, and Grandstand Gurus is the sports show that Jack Cruz does every Wednesday with the rest of the gurus. So yeah, there's something for everyone.
A few months ago, you guys done the topic friendship.
Yep.
And I was driving to Adelaide at the time, and I was listening to that, and that really hit me in the feels. It really did. Just thinking about my experiences with my friends and people moving on and all that. Yeah, it sounds like you guys have gone through similar things.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to we do some fun topics, like we just did our top 5 movies and things like that. But yeah, we like to mix it up and do some serious stuff every now and then. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, friendship, it's good. It can the internet's definitely made it different, hey?
Yeah, it sure has. It's being able to reach out and talk to people and
do stuff like this. It's great.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Will I see you at PAX in a few weeks?
Yeah, so soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll see you there.
Yeah, too easy. All right, guys, we end the show each and every week with Nintendo Jukebox, where we put some cool Nintendo tunes in your ears. This week, we've got Mega Man 2 Acoustic Mix by Simon Leong on SoundCloud. All right, guys. Catch you later.